What's cracking, y'all? You are now watching Boo TV. Appreciate you for stopping in. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, stay notified, and let's get into the topic for today. Back with another video from the Scap Attack channel that puts out highly entertaining content. Shedding some light and addressing these false narratives that go around notoriously regarding LeBron James, but he also does content on other players as well across various topics. This one I wanted to get into, called The Rise and Fall of NBA Superstar Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons has never, ever been a superstar in my book. Ever. Sorry. But you know what? Let's get into it.
In an era defined by mentally soft, impotent superstars, there is perhaps no greater ambassador than the legendary Ben Simmons, a man who has found a way to earn more money for doing less than a Kardashian. Well, that makes sense actually. A man who shows up to collect his weekly paychecks wearing a ski mask.
Hey, give me your money.
And it is almost impossible to fathom a larger waste of talent and potential.
Don't talk to me, all right? Knock it off!
The rise and mostly fall of a modern-day NBA superstar began innocently enough. Ben Simmons was drafted with the #1 overall pick by the Philadelphia 76ers in the 2016 NBA Draft.
In the 2016 NBA Draft, the Philadelphia 76ers select Ben Simmons.
And the Sixers, who were just trusting the process, made the obvious selection here. And that isn't just hindsight, like other epic fails perpetrated by the 76ers organization, like when they famously traded up to select Markelle Fultz, passing on Jason Tatum. No, make no mistake, Simmons was the undisputed #1 overall pick in this draft, and it's easy to see why. Simmons had one of the best collegiate freshman seasons we have seen in recent memory, when in his one and only season with the LSU Tigers, Simmons averaged 19 points per game, 12 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals on 56% shooting from the field, prompting him to be selected as a consensus first-team All-American. Simmons would also elicit high praise from famed talent evaluator Irvin Magic Johnson, calling him the best all-around player since LeBron James. And Irv has had many spot-on assessments throughout his career as a talent evaluator. But this was actually a pretty apt comparison, as despite producing an astounding box-stuffing stat line, the LSU Tigers significantly underachieved their expectations in his one and only year there.
It's not a failure.
Oh no, it was undeniably a failure. LSU was ranked 21st in the preseason polls heading in that season, yet failed to even make the NCAA tournament. But the important thing is here that they always showed up and gave maximum effort, as they were eliminated by Texas A&M in the SEC tournament by a score of 71-38. And Simmons went down swinging in this game, showing that characteristic heart and indomitable will he would later become known for in the NBA, dropping 10 points on 4 for 11 from the field. This would ultimately end up being Simmons' final game with LSU, thus concluding the epic collegiate career of the next LeBron James. And coincidentally enough, Simmons would sign with Clutch Sports to represent him, which is famously owned by LeBron James' lapdog Rich Paul. You know, that guy.
That one right there made you the greatest player of all time.
And it was off to bigger and better things in the NBA for Simmons, who would actually go on to light it up in his first year, averaging 16 points per game, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists on 55% shooting from the field, while being named Rookie of the Year. Of course, none of that happened until his second NBA season, since he ended up missing his entire first year with a preseason foot injury, which was originally diagnosed as a 3-month recovery timeline. Man, what a warrior. Simmons, though, would flash brilliance throughout his first 4 seasons in the NBA when he could actually be bothered to play, going on to make 3 consecutive All-Star teams after his Rookie of the year's second season, and in 2020, Simmons was selected as a member of the All-NBA third team. He would also make back-to-back first-team All-NBA defensive teams in consecutive seasons in 2020 and 2021, prompting Philadelphia to sign him to a 5-year, $170 million extension. Oh, and the stellar decision to choose to go with a combination of Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris over this guy.
Tobias Harris over me?
In yet another move by the Sixers organization that would go hilariously wrong, blowing up in their faces like an exploding cigar. The heel turn here for Simmons, though, in what was otherwise a promising start to his young career, was the 76ers' shocking loss in the 2021 Eastern Conference semifinals, a series they were substantially favored in. Simmons would average just 10 points for the series, and in Game 7 scored only 5 points on just 4 shots, as he famously and inexplicably passed up this open dunk in the late stages of the fourth quarter. Following the game, Simmons would draw sharp criticism from not only superstar teammate Joel Embiid, but also head coach Doc Rivers.
Ben Simmons can still be a point guard for a championship team like the one you guys want to become?
Yeah, David, I don't know that question or the answer to that right now. So I don't know the answer to that.
Ouch. In a stunning response to the criticism, Simmons would demand a trade that summer, despite having 4 years remaining on his 5-year, $170 million deal. The Sixers would refuse and Simmons would sit out, before ultimately citing mental health reasons for his absence. Eventually, the Sixers would acquiesce to the demands of arguably the softest and most pathetic athlete in all of sports history, in a deal that would send James Harden to Philadelphia. Another winning move by the Sixers organization. But hey, at least they were rid of this guy. But Ben Simmons would come into his tenure with the Brooklyn Nets with a fire lit under him, looking to prove everyone wrong. Of course he didn't. In his 2 years with the Nets thus far, Simmons has played just 42 total games while posting career lows in points per game, rebounds per game, assists per game, and free throw percentage, dropping a stat line of 7 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists per game. This guy is making $35 million per year, by the way. But Simmons wanted us all to know he is getting ready this offseason, taking to his social media to post this recent picture of himself. Ben Simmons might have just made an impossible to imagine 5 total three-point shots in his entire NBA career, while his free throw percentage has plummeted to 44% in his most recent season. But it's good to know that he can still break out the baby oil to lather up for an IG thirst-trapping photo shoot instead of working on any actual ball skills in the offseason. Meanwhile, the Nets still owe this guy $77 million over the next 2 seasons. And as for Simmons, who is still only 26 years old, he seems to have already hit rock bottom. But it will be fascinating to see just how much lower he can actually go.
All right. Like I said, now when I made this thumbnail with the chick and the money stack and the phone with the Instagram, I hadn't even watched this video yet. I just built that thumbnail off of what I know about Ben Simmons and how I perceive Ben Simmons to be and what he cares about. Now, I didn't know he was going to cover all that stuff in this video, but it proves the accuracy of it. I didn't have to watch the video. I already knew. I was like, you know what? This is what my thumbnail is going to be. I'm going to put fine-ass girl, a stack of money, and a phone with an Instagram logo on it, because that is what Ben Simmons really cares about. Sure enough. Now, like I said, I never considered Ben Simmons a superstar. I'll be the first to tell you. Coming out of LSU, I wanted the Lakers to get the #1 pick in the draft. Because I wanted them to draft Ben Simmons, because, yeah, he's right. That seemed like the best choice at the time. Hindsight's 20/20, of course, and I was disappointed when the Lakers didn't get Ben Simmons. Now, personally, when I look at Ben Simmons' career, because it's like the rise and fall, to me, he never really ascended or had any steady ascension before. Like, he came in, you know, his quote unquote rookie year, which would be his sophomore year, but the first year he played, you know, good rookie year, right? 15 points per game, almost 16, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, just under 2 steals a game. All right, well, where do you go from there, right? We like to see players improve. Usually you see some type of statistical improvement with players as they reach their prime, right? You never got that from Ben Simmons. Now, I'm not saying he didn't improve in other areas, like certain intangibles, certain things defensively that you get better at that might not always show up in the box score. Yeah, I think he's made some improvements there. Feeling the game, understanding or adjusting to the flow of the game, having your presence be impactful in ways that don't show up in the box score. Yeah, he had some small strides there. But overall, he has been the same player. If you look at his stats from 2017, the start of the 2017-2018 season through the 2020-2021 season, it looks like he has not made much improvement as a player. It doesn't. Give me some concrete evidence, some serious evidence to show me large strides as a player from your first year in through your fourth year. I got to see more than that. And then after that is when they talked about his steep decline, right, with the Brooklyn Nets, the 2022-2023 season, right? Under 7 points per game, almost 7, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. Well, I don't understand. And listen, when Ben Simmons got to Brooklyn, I was actually rooting for the guy. A lot of people were rooting against him, and they have every reason to. Trust me, dude's a prima donna, dude's a liar. You know, I'm not one, I can't call people out for citing mental health, but this POS right here, I'm sorry, that's all cap. I truly do not believe in his mental health claims that he's put out. I don't. I don't. It's a bunch of BS. And I hate when players, and he's really started that trend. I hate when players lack accountability. They can't look at themselves in the mirror and hold themselves accountable. They cannot self-reflect. They are in denial. They live in a wonder world, in a bubble. Self-denial. Yeah, that is a sickness, Ben Simmons. Maybe you were right about mental health. Denial. It's a disease. You're delusional. So maybe you were right, buddy. Maybe. Golly. Unbelievable. And I was rooting for him because I was rooting for the Brooklyn Nets as a fan of Kevin Durant, and I felt like he was getting a whole lot of unwarranted criticism in many ways. So I was like, I hope Durant just shuts everybody up, shows them up. And even with Kyrie Irving, I was rooting for both these guys because KD was absolutely balling by himself when Kyrie and James Harden were out. By himself and a bunch of role players, KD lifted these guys to the top of the standings. Both of those campaigns with James Harden. And then he got injured around the same time each year, and then they plummeted. So I was rooting for KD, and rooting for KD and Kyrie, I had to root for Ben Simmons to do well. And just find some type of roles, make some type of positive impact with the team as a third option, as a defensive player, as somebody with size, as somebody that can create easy buckets, as somebody who has athleticism at 7 feet tall that can get to the basket at will and finish. He wasn't doing any of that. You saw the highlights. He was at least doing that in his early years. But he wasn't doing any of that with Brooklyn. He just seemed completely lost out there for the most part. He had shades, certain spots of games here and there where it was like, okay, we might be on to something, build on that, but it never accumulated to anything. I'd be the first that you could go to my Ben Simmons playlist when my channel was more of game by game, breakdowns and reactions and covering box scores and analyzing play. It was more that in the earlier stages of this channel. I don't really do it no more. But I was covering Ben Simmons because I was rooting for the guy. But I'll be the first to admit this dude is beyond disappointing, and he never cared about basketball. And rumblings started coming out about this guy not loving the game. And not every player loves the game. A lot of players, especially nowadays, just do it for the money, do it for the clout. But they still put forth an effort. This guy just does not love basketball at all. He wants to be in the NBA, to collect money, to reap all the non-basketball benefits that come associated with being a player in the NBA, especially a known player in the NBA. He wants the clout, he wants the money, he wants the fame, he wants the woman, he wants the cars, the popularity. He wants to get on Instagram all day, be on social media all day, posting pictures, throwing shade at teams, franchises, and people in a very, I'm sorry, it's a suck ass mentality, suck ass move. We can't get this guy to get out on the court. We can't, and when he does get out on the court, we can't get this guy to take his head out of his ass and play basketball and contribute and show some heart. But he want to sit in the cut and sit in the darkness to some degree and wait till the 76ers get knocked out the playoffs to put up a Instagram feed of him watching a game of them losing. What? You can't do that, Ben Simmons, buddy. You can't. This is some suck ass shit, man. I couldn't believe it. I was like, this bum, really? Really, Ben Simmons? He don't love the game, man. He loves everything that comes with it. Dating popular women, dating models, Kardashians, stacking his money, staying off the court, rolling up in girls' DMs on Instagram, posting thirst feeds on social media. Yeah, that ain't sweat. Like you said, that's oil. That's baby oil you got all over your body, all shiny. That ain't sweat. And you post a picture of you all lathered up in the gym and you supposed to be working hard. The hell out of here. Come on, man. We all know you called a bunch of people in, the photographers in, the lighting lamps. That's all that was. You have showed no sign throughout your entire career of addressing the weak points in your game and trying to better yourself as a basketball player. You haven't. Or even the parts of your game that you are strong at, and even improving on those. You haven't shown any sign of that, man. So in hindsight, like I said, hindsight's 2020. I am beyond happy that the Lakers did not draft Ben Simmons. Whole ass clown. So yeah, for me, he was never a superstar in my opinion, ever. Sorry. Superstars, that label superstar is reserved for a certain caliber of player. A LeBron James, a Kevin Durant, a Steph Curry, a Nikola Jokic, a Giannis Antetokounmpo, a Luka Doncic, Joel Embiid. These players I can throw into that superstar caliber. And even inside that superstar tier, I can break that down into even more tiers. You know what I mean? All superstars aren't created equal. But anyway, that's my opinion, man. Y'all let me know what you think about it. Our boy Scap Attack here was spot on, as usual. This guy's a whole ass clown. And I hope after he gets his money, Brooklyn Nets are trying to trade him right now. And I hope after his contract is done, paid off, I hope nobody offers him anything. Now he knows he doesn't have much time left. So if he wants to continue to reap these benefits outside of the NBA, he better actually start fine-tuning his game and sharpening his skills so that he can stick around. Because nobody else is going to want him on their roster. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, stay notified, and I'll catch you on the next one. We out, baby.